Okay, we did it.
Let's see.
Yeah, we can send to the recording to the folks if they don't connect today. Um, because today is 420, so everyone in Puerto Rico, I think they have activities today.
And I know we only have limited time too, so
Yeah, if you want to start it, that's okay.
okay. And then of course I see that there is somebody else here, so maybe we can get like some introductions going. I'm Rica Milan. I'm in the House of Milan. I've been in the house for almost 5 years now. I was a part of the original group that kind of came together to create this coalition of educators around GNC. And I was the first person to walk GNC categories with a group of other people. And I'm the first of the year winner for GNC categories across different states on the East Coast. And yeah, very happy to be invited here to share what we have been really fighting for in the mainstream ballroom scene for the last um, 4 or 5 years now. So I'll pass it to Siren.
Cool. So, Siren. I walk Transparent Realness. I walk Sex Siren, Body, Beginners All American Runway, and eventually I'll be segueing into GNC Runway. Probably dibble dabble with GNC Sex Siren, trying to figure out what that looks like. But I have been officially advocating for GNC in Ballroom with the rest of the team since 2022, I believe. So I kind of just came on, heard about the conversation on Vigo, decided to input my knowledge, and we're like, let's just, let's combine forces. So I'm here. I'm here to help. Mainly just to mainly to show that not only does GNC it's an expression, but it's also not just limited to non-binary, but also trans men, trans women, all that. So I try to be as visible as possible. So yeah.
And oh, I see there's some other people that are coming in the room too, so that's great. So this is our whole advocacy coalition right now. We just admitted two additional members, but Stevie, who's no longer 007, what's Stevie's house now? Demir Versailles, I think.
I
Is that
believe
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rayante is now 007, looking for a
Hmm.
house. And they've been with us for the last several years. Afrofuturist Garçon and Dom Tishi joined us in January. They had their kind of probationary period with us, like doing some work, and then we officially inducted them in January. So we're very happy to have them. Um, Stevie or Stella is down on the it was Gulf Coast essentially, but also
Yeah, Gulf
Florida.
Coast. Yeah.
Siren, you're down in Atlanta still,
I'm in
or?
Atlanta. Yep.
Okay, Rayante's out on the West Coast, Dom's on the West Coast, and Afro is in New York. I'm up in New York, New Jersey area now, so that's where we are. We're kind of spread all over the
Hmm.
U.S., but we're really excited about the opportunity to connect with Puerto Rico to get you all, up to speed on everything. So I'll just give a little bit of like the history, and then Syra and I are going to kind of trade off, and we're going to get through this in the next hopefully like 15 minutes, so we can just open up for some questions. But GNC in Ballroom in its present form, like the way that it looks now, began in Orlando, Florida in March 2022. So it was formed in coalition, starting with myself and India 007, who's now really more focused on the Kiki scene. We first were invited to a House Lives Matter meeting in Orlando, Florida, to discuss specifically GNC categories, to like mixed reception in the room. But the next day, one of the very first that we know of major balls, mainstream balls, had a GNC face category, and us also an open to all best dressed category where Stella walked GNC best dressed. And that was like the first time that like GNC was included in a ball at that level, and where we had four people walk it. It was myself, India, Mayara Escada, and Lexi West, and Lexi took grand prize. So that was really like the first ball. So we're looking at almost exactly now 4 years ago, that it has been kind of increasing in popularity since then, and that we have been doing this advocacy work. The most important thing to take away from the education about GNC is that it is not the same label in ballroom as it is outside of ballroom. We recognize that there are like a billion different labels that people can have for themselves that falls outside of like the binary male, female, or even binary trans woman, trans man identities, all under like a non-binary kind of an umbrella. Like for myself, I experience my gender as fluid. Other people may identify themselves as gender nonconforming in their expression. Some people are non-binary, some people are gender queer, some people like there's just endless terminology. Identity is one thing, right? And people can be in ballroom representing all kinds of identities and walk GNC because what we focus on for GNC and mainstream is that GNC is an expression. It's what you are putting on your body in terms of clothes down the runway. But it has to be a mixture of feminine and masculine clothing. It's not physical androgyny. It's not like the judges are supposed to see the person walking down the runway and be confused about their gender. It is about, did this person make choices in the clothing that they are wearing that represents a mixture of what is like traditionally masculine and feminine kinds of articles of clothing or adornment. Not hair, not makeup. It is the things that you are putting onto your body, clothing wise. So if anybody of any identity wants to do that, creatively express themselves in this mixed presentation and like very like making that choice, they can walk this category. Then of course they need to have the best dressed qualities and the face qualities or the runway walk or whatever it is that is the, the other part of that category.
Mhm.
I will pass it to you, Siren, for the next few slides.
This is normally Stella's part, it's the fashion part.
I'll help.
But but for what we did was we pulled together some images of just like celebrities, as well as like fashion collections that do tend to show a more GNC aesthetic. So, we have Janelle Monáe, if you remember from that Met Gala, she had a very, well, rather they, because those are the pronouns now. But they had like a very mixed, you can see like there's the masculine element in the tailoring of the jacket, and there's the feminine aspect. You have the same thing with, Zendaya, as well as Harry Styles, Lil Nas X. So these are things that we see on a regular basis. Like we see this in the fashion world. It's nothing new. It didn't just get here yesterday. GNC, styles have been around. And then you also have collections that also focus more so on that GNC gender fluid. So you have Schiaparelli, you have Robert Wan, Mason Margiela, and then you have Tom Brown. So it's very, for us, what we decided was like, okay, let's just kind of show you what it looks like outside, and this also kind of create that creative spark so that you can get an idea of what it looks like in ballroom as well. And
And we
if
know that
you,
ballroom
yeah,
influences fashion, fashion influences
exactly,
ballroom. So we're trying to give you like both here in this presentation.
very much that. And then of course, we have our lovely Rico, Riante, Stella, Dom. So these look very GNC, very gender fluid. This is what we would expect to see when you walk a category that is GNC, that mixture of masc and feminine. Um, and like I said, when I say mixture, I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean 50-50, but we have to be able to see both elements. So when you look at each of these individuals, you can see both elements. So that's what we're looking for. You want to do this? You want me to?
I can jump back in, and then
Okay.
Rayante is here, another
Yay.
member from our coalition. So Rayante, you're like right on cue because your slide is coming up next.
Uh, Hi, how are you guys?
But yeah, DNC, like I said before, it's a category for everyone. If the person presents a mixture of masculine and feminine in their overall presentation, they basically made the cut to walk GNC. They do not have to identify as GNC, non-binary, gender fluid. They could be a trans woman, they could be a cis man, they could be whatever they want. As long as they are showing up with that mixture of masc and femme in their look. And those choices that they make are can be subtle to being really, really obvious, but they don't have to be a 50-50 presentation of masc and femme. So you don't need to look at the person and be like, oh, okay, like I see cut down the center of them. They've got a suit on one side and a dress on the other. Like that's not necessarily what the look is. That could be, but that's not necessarily what you have to do. This picture of Dom Tishi was from the Chanel ball, I believe. Siren Reality. Yes, last fall, I think.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Chanel
And
ball.
On the Chanel
yeah, the
roll.
Chanel ball for best dressed. And Dom was walking down the runway. And when you kind of looked at Dom from the front, if you're looking at what the category is for GNC, which is just if you're walking best dressed, um, are you, first of all, are you best dressed? But second, for GNC, like, is this a mixture? Can I see the mixture? And when Dom's walking down the runway, like heading towards the judges, it looked like a very, very feminine look. But as soon as Dom turned around, there's this big kind of tie looking cape, like a masculine kind of tie going like cascading down their back. And for that, that was like this kind of 10%, maybe 20% bit of masculine in there that was really like creatively incorporated into the look. So that made the cut. And we just wanted to show that like it can be something really creative and inventive that still shows that a choice was made, a decision was made to bring that mixture in the presentation. Okay. Feel free, somebody else to take this one. I don't want to do all of them.
Oh, well, before we go over it, we can, I guess since Rihanna's here, we can have Rihanna introduce yourself since we did our introductions.
Yes. Hi, I am Riante, LaBeija 007. I was the former founding California mother um, for the California chapter. I am, I'm sorry. I currently walk three subcategories of face. I walk Butch Queen face, GNC, and Drag face. I've also done runway as well earlier in my ballroom career. Outside of ballroom, I work in HR and marketing. I am also an entrepreneur as well. I'm actually working on a few businesses that I've always wanted to work on. So I've been working on that. And I also am working on building my nonprofit organization. So I am currently doing those things as well. I have participating in acting. I've been on TV. I've done red carpet hosting. I pretty much have my hands in a lot of different things, but yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Riante.
Thank you. So GNC categories, they should be written appropriately to express a mixed gender. An effort should be made to write categories logically so that the people walking can present a mixture of both feminine and masculine. So a good example of that would be bring it in an Oscar-worthy look that breaks the binary. An example that we would not want to see would be bring it like a Disney princess.
Yeah, and I will
Um,
actually add to this, like the writing of the categories is really important. And part of this is like working with the promoters and the people that are writing the categories for the balls that if you see something that's written in a way that's like it's impossible to actually show a masc and femme look and meet the standards of what the category is asking for. Like bring it like a Disney princess, then like, okay, like I guess I have like you have to look like a feminine princess then. So how do you do that and do GNC? Contacting them to say, hey, like, is there a way that you can write this a little bit differently, or let the judges know that like I'm going to be doing a kind of a princess that like breaks the binary look, and
right.
like that's what they should expect for that, so you don't get chopped. Um, because there is some misunderstanding about what the GNC still is. But the best thing is that, the first and foremost, that the promoters actually write it the correct way so that you have the opportunity to play with your look and have that mixed presentation. And then the other piece of this is a lot of times folks will write a category as open to all, and then like they might say, oh, well, it's open to all. So like GNC is welcome, but they actually are only giving trophies for male figure and female figure. And so there's not actually a lane for you to walk in when they define it as male figure, female figure, because GNC is a third and separate lane to be walking down. and they need to actually define it and provide a separate category for that or a separate trophy for that.
And then also just to add, like in the event that there is a ball that comes up and maybe, you see the category, you reach out to promote the promoter, you don't get a response. You're more than welcome to reach out to any one of us. We will reach out to the promoter, try to see who we know that's involved, just try to see that we can get that changed up. So it's really just a team effort all the way around. If you see it, reach out. If you need help reaching out, then just let us know. We're more than happy to do that as well.
And another thing to add on to that, reach out to your alliance as well. Sometimes, a lot of alliances they make it required for other year approved balls to have certain categories. So if the GNC category is a required category within your region, then if a certain ball promoter and you're not able to get in touch with that ball promoter, you can contact the alliance, and the alliance can contact that promoter to make sure it's added on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rihanna. You want to take this one? This is you.
Oh, yes. Folks can walk multiple labels for one category, including GNC. There should be clear distinction in the presentation for each. Specifically for GNC, there needs to be a clear mixture of mask and femme in the effect presented. So with that being said, as long as you fit the description of the category, like for instance, if you are assigned male at birth, you will cater to those categories that are assigned male at birth presentation. If you are assigned female at birth, you can walk those categories that are assigned female at birth. The only categories, like for myself, that I would not be able to participate in is femme queen or trans men or trans categories, and those categories, because I'm not
And cis
trans.
women's, yeah.
So and
Yeah.
cis, yes, and cisgender category. So as long as you are able to fit the mold of that category, you should be able to present as that category. So if I'm walking Butch Queen face, and Butch Queen face is requiring me to have a male presenting look, then I will present that as a male presenting person. If I decide to walk Drag's face, then I will give that female presentation look. And then if I decide to walk GNC, which as you guys know is open, it's pretty much a open to all, it's inclusive. That's when I'll be able to present the mask and femme look, regardless of the presentation, as long as you're able to pinpoint my nonconformity. So this is a big topic in ballroom. Can you do this? Can you do that? And you can. So.
And like you can see from the photos here of Rayante's very different looks depending on what the label was, all for face. This is all the face category, right? But you see GNC in the middle is about that like expression, right? The clothing that Rayante is wearing, and then has a very distinct look for Butch Queen, obviously has a very distinct look for drags. So just keeping in mind that like GNC was always a part of Ballroom. It didn't just have a defined label until at these last few years, really. It showed up in different ways. There were other categories where people there was like an androgyny category, I think. There was
Hmm.
but what I always forget
There's
what
there's
the
there's
gender bender, like
gender
there was other
bender.
categories where like people tried to do it, right? And they just didn't have like the coalition behind it to really make it happen. And for various other reasons, those categories just didn't catch on. But for the last 4 years, we've seen GNC catching on more and more. But we've seen different competitors over the years present GNC looks in binary lanes before.
Hmm.
So we kind of like to pay homage to the people who have been showing up in this way for many years, even before, we kind of came along and started really pushing for the GNC categories. So like Thaddeus Gorgeous Gucci has like always presented very androgynous kind of gender mixed looks. Ms. Lawrence, of course. We had a really great conversation with Gunnar Tishi like 4 years ago, describing what the GNC category is all about. And Gunnar realized, oh my gosh, like I've been GNC all of these years and have been
Hmm.
like really kind of scrutinized like as I'm walking and with these particular looks. And it's just so good to like feel like, this was something that just wasn't represented, but now I'm glad that it's represented. So like it was so great to like hear Gunnar kind of, express that in that space, and give some legitimacy to what we're trying to do, but also like that it has some grounding in the history of ballroom and in what people have been doing before.
Sure.
So yeah, GNC has been growing in its presence in ballroom. Over the last several years, we've seen, it go from just a couple of balls a year to, balls all over the country. I know in 2024, I know I counted like over 20 balls last year. We kind of just lost count, honestly, and just stopped counting because it wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
But the most common categories that we see currently, so if you're like you want to walk a GNC category, you want to like prepare for it. The most typical ones that we're seeing are face, best dressed, runway, performance, and sex siren a little bit less so, but like we're starting to see some interest in it picking up. These are just a few of the names of people that have been like the most frequently walking or consistently walking over the last several years. And there's tons of others. This is like a very much like a starter list. So we're acknowledging that there are a lot of other people here, and we would love to actually like build this list authentically. And so if you know people who are walking GNC categories in Puerto Rico that you want to add to this list, please let us know. And we always end with some calls to action. So we would love for folks to, work with us to continue clarifying the label and its categories to match ballroom standards. That's something that we have been really careful about since the very beginning of our advocacy. We didn't come in and just like say to leadership and like talk to alliances and individuals and be like, this is GNC and you have to accept us. We actually sat down with them and were like, this is what we would like it to be and what we think how we think it could work. What do you think? And then we got a lot of feedback and we built it to what it is now. And that's what you do when you enter any kind of space that has a history and a culture and traditions and standards, and it's a competition space. So we ask you to work with us to do that coalition building and that advocacy work because we have the connections and we know kind of how to navigate a lot of the questions and feedback that we often get. And we want to make sure that the messaging is consistent, especially because there is still confusion about what this category is all about. So help us educate judges, commentators, your house members, basically like continue that education beyond this space. And if you are in a house with different members that you think might be interested in walking this category, support it by preparing them appropriately for it so that they walk it, representing what it is supposed to be. So the judges continuously get a very clear sense of what this category is all about. If you ever plan a ball, a mainstream ball, like make sure that you have GNC categories as a part of it, even if you're just including, one just to get started and like with your figuring it out, like one is better than none. And then we also encourage, I don't know what happened to my screen share. Do you also see that? Let me
Yeah, I
see.
still see it.
You still see the
Hmm.
presentation? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't know why it went away from me, but we also encourage that you include cash prizes where you can to foster more competition, as we know that like, people spend a lot of money on some of, their looks and all of that on travel. So getting people to take this category seriously and actually really want to come out and walk it means putting some money behind it as well. And we just say that if there is a cash prize, we often want to see that GNC folks have been walking at least once in a GNC category in the last year before they come out for a cash prize. And that's really just to avoid, someone who normally would never walk GNC just kind of swooping in to take a cash prize, but then they'll never walk it again or something.
Right.
So we always say just like have a track record that like this is who you are and like who you say you are, like the kind of looks that you want to present down the runway, and build the category with us by being present in it consistently. Don't just swoop in for a cash prize randomly. And that's it for our presentation, but we're here to answer questions. And I know Siren and Riante probably have lots that they would want to add. But I think we have another like 10 to 12 minutes. So yeah, we're happy to chat.
Um, I'm gonna add something um to break the ice here. Um, what were the biggest challenge in getting gender non-conforming categories recognized and respect within the mainstream ballroom scene?
Hmm. I think that some of the challenges was more so ballroom has been around for a long time. And with anything that has history and a foundation, change is
Mm-hmm,
like the hardest thing for people to grasp. So it's like, again, like we said, GNC has always been around. There are a plethora of people in ballroom who have showcase GNC looks. They might identify as GNC, but it's just something that it wasn't like they needed to put a title on it. So now that we're doing it, a lot of people are like, well, why do we need to make it a thing now? They've been here, they've been doing that. And I think a lot of times we kind of get caught up in the inclusivity conversation where people are like, well, ballroom is a competition space. So that was one of the biggest things was okay, we can be inclusive, but remember that ballroom is still a competition space. So it was really more so figuring out what does a GNC category look like in ballroom in order for people to fairly compete. Making sure that it's not just limited to just non-binary or GNC individuals, but allowing even people who may not identify as GNC or non-binary the space to still compete. Because again, like I said, we're learning new terms. People are ever changing. There are people that identify as lesbian, trans, gay, and then later on down the line, they're like, nope, I'm non-binary. Nope, I'm GNC or I'm gender fluid. So just giving that space for everyone and letting them know that this is just not another category that limits to only a group of people, but it's literally for everyone. It's for the betterment of ballroom. That was one of the biggest challenges.
I would say ignorance and just the mis education of everything, to be honest. Not only just for people that are not GNC, but also individuals that were GNC, to be honest. I would say that um um first, like, bringing something new, as you know, this is not new, but like, GNC, the term of it, you know and just bringing forth it, bringing all of the things to the forefront, which is like, okay, this is what GNC is now. We've seen categories like Puss in Boots, we've seen androgynous categories, we've seen all these different kind of categories. Now this category, we want this to be a category that is for the longevity. I think that with anything new, it's going to always be like challenges. And I think the getting people to understand what it looks like and also being visible, because, all of us is not able to be in the same spaces or even in all these different spaces that GNC have grown, but actually showing up, showing it exactly how it's supposed to look, how, and just people representing the category, I would say would probably be the most challenging. But um, for me, I feel like GNC is no different from when Butch Queen categories was offered, because as you guys know, drag ballroom started in drag pageantry, and then we had a lot of the female figure categories, and then once Butch Queen categories started to usher in, they had that same this same kind of
Pushback.
backlash, I would say,
Yeah.
to be honest. So now that GNC is, we had the same thing, but I feel like now everyone is understanding, because a lot of us were in the field, we're making it visible. There's a lot of new babies that's coming out that's actually walking it, and I feel like it's growing. The international, like, you guys are doing a really great job of just keeping the category alive by actually walking in. So I feel like it's really growing, but definitely getting everyone to understand and just be on that same page. That was the hard part.
Yeah, I can add something quick. I think it just, Brianta, you kind of started to touch on it with, folks who identify as non-binary, like helping them understand what the category was about too, and like how to actually present themselves down the runway for it. Um, a big part of it was the confusion around identity versus expression. And I know that like for me personally, I don't walk any other categories than GNC because personally I wouldn't feel comfortable and I don't identify. But for the category itself doesn't have to do with identity per se. It just is a lane for people who don't feel like they are identity represented anywhere else. It could be a lane that you can walk because it doesn't have that label on it. It doesn't have a binary label attached to it, making it like, not comfortable for non-binary people. It's just that it is still a competition. So the way that you would normally dress on the day to day isn't how you're going to dress in ballroom, no matter what category you're walking, you
Right.
know? So there is a standard, and you may not walk in a kind of androgynous look or in a mixed masc femme look on the day to day as a non-binary person, but nor would I walk best dressed like that normal every day. So it's about putting together a look for the category for the competition space. And then you wear what you want and you be who you want. Nobody's telling you that you're not who you are otherwise and outside of that space.
And I'm gonna add to that, Umbrika, and the beauty too with the GNC. What I love most about GNC, I'm gonna be honest, is because there's a lot of things you can do. Like, you know what I mean? You can express, you can sell it how masculine you want. You can sell it how feminine. You can mix your expression. Like, that has nothing to do with, like, your look. And I think that's the beauty about it, because we're all in the same playing field. So whether you identify as cisgender, whether you identify as gender fluid, non-binary, or whatever the case may be, we all are held to the same standard. So if we, as long as our presentation is non-conforming, our outfit, honestly, is non-conforming, we're all on the same playing field. So it's no longer like, oh, I have to sell it masculine, I have to sell it feminine this way. You can sell it how you want. And I think that's the beauty in GNC, is you can just be free, to be honest.
Um, I don't know if other folks have questions or something. Um, but I want to add thank you for all. I'm so happy to create this space to make sure doing boardroom right. I'm trying to get a bridge in between the mainstream boardroom and the US boardroom is seen with the Puerto Rican boardroom is seen. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for inviting us.
You're
For
so
sure.
welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You?
Hi,
Hi.
Hey,
I'm Dorley. Nice to meet you all. I just want to say
likewise.
thank you all for the information. For me, it was very much important to hear this information. One, because yes, like some of us, like Serena, Nana, and the rest of the ballroom scene in Puerto Rico were here, but I also lived in New York for 6 years, so I fully wanted to also understand the knowledge within the mainstream ballroom, which is very much important. But I also acknowledge from experiencing ballroom in New York and in Puerto Rico and in Brazil, there's also a beauty of seeing how, the mainstream world and the Caribbean world and South American balls manifest individually in their own individual perspective. I'm sorry if you hear barking. It's my neighbor's dog.
It's okay.
Um, so I think for me, I wanted to like learn more about the mainstream because, there's points where at least me here in Puerto Rico, I see how yes, ballroom has to be respected, but there's also the fact, to just put it like that, that every space, talking about Puerto Rico in particular, ballroom in Puerto Rico, um, the expression is different, because it's a different type of experience, if you want to say it like that. So my question would be, have you guys had like situations similarly where there's been issues trying to like intertwine like the mainstream ballroom scene with like other ballroom communities outside of the one in New York or in general?
We have 2 minutes left to
Yeah.
this session. So I just wanted to name that because we might not get a chance to fully answer your question, and it's a really important one. So Serena,
Mhm.
would it be okay if like we just restarted it right now so we have time to
Yeah,
answer it
of
fully?
course. I'm
Okay.
gonna send the link or yeah.
Okay. Is it this going to be the same one again, maybe? We might be able to join the
Um,
same one.
I don't know how. Oh, okay, okay. I gotta figure out, but let me end this and continue in another. I think. I
Okay,
don't
I'll
know.
be on Instagram if you want to try to send me there.
Okay,
If
perfect.
it is a new one, otherwise I'm just gonna try to come back on this one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it's the first thing I use Zoom. So for that reason I'm a lot, but it is fine. Let me give them again, Jason.
We'll just wait for everyone to come back.
Jorly. Oh, Jorly is joining. Oh, let me check again. Okay.
You're on mute, Ricker.
I was just acknowledging that it is recording again, so I'm happy about
Woohoo.
that. And then
Okay.
what was it?
I think
Someone
we're missing.
else.
I think we're missing
Mhm.
Nana.
Anna.
Let me change my name.
Zoom is funny like that. I have like three accounts, and I can't tell you that every time I get on one, I'm like, wait, is this the ballroom one? Or
Yeah, totally. My work one pops up all the time in my ballroom stuff, and I'm like,
I don't know how it's possible, but right now I'm splitting my brain right now because I'm here, but I'm also connected virtually in my computer on my online class.
oh,
And the
you're so
oh,
same,
good. Wow.
yeah,
oh
but in the
wow,
same account, but I'm surprised because I'm not paying for like Zoom Premium, so I don't even know how it's allowing me to do that.
that's
So, okay, I
funny.
think we're all here now. Can you actually
Yes.
just repeat your questions since now it's like a new
Yes.
recording? Yeah.
So my question would be as someone that has experienced mainstream ballroom in New York and ballroom in Puerto Rico and also like in Brazil, I mentioned how sometimes including like some of the yeah, the experience of mainstream ballroom or including mainstream ballroom to be integrated into like um ballrooms outside of the US. My question was that has that like created some sort of like distortion or like issues, within communities or like, yeah, that was basically my question because as I mentioned, for instance, like ballroom in Puerto Rico has its own unique experience with individuals as well and it doesn't matter if it's in Puerto Rico, but I feel through my eyes that is a very much different experience in the United States and in El Caribe and also in South America. So my question would be, has it been an issue, including like mainstream ballroom and like communities of ballroom outside of the US and the mainstream scene?
So before we took our hiatus,
With like categories or yeah, like
yeah,
mainly in categories, yes.
I wish Afro was here to answer this question because that was actually a conversation we had. When Afro joined the coalition, that was one of the biggest things we talked about because, as we know, like so so I'm Nigerian, and so just culture wise, the way that the U.S. is about gender expressions and gender identities, it's very strict, right? In other cultures, it's not uncommon to see male identified individuals wearing skirts or anything like clothing overseas isn't as genderfied as it is in the US, right? So in ballroom, ballroom is so a stickler for what is male and what is female, which is why we have these male best dress, female best dress. They're very strict on that. Whereas overseas, it's kind of like it's not uncommon. So one of Afro's things was in coming here and walking the categories, what's normal was kind of like nitpicked. Um, as far as like the clothes, like, oh, well, this is considered a male outfit, but it's really not. And so that was one of the things that's like having to explain that. and it's going to continue to be an explanation, right? But just that's why we're trying to increase the awareness of not having a 50-50 split, understanding that it can be mask and femme presentation. It doesn't have that a guaranteed percentage. Educating the judges on what that looks like. Even some of our judges who are fashion icons, they have a little bit more understanding because they understand the nuances of clothing. But because the category specifically is about your presentation, your effect, it is a little bit easier now. I just think it's going to consist of more and more conversation. Like Afro's getting it now, and Afro's doing those things and taking it in. And we've seen a difference in the effects before and now. There's a big difference. But I think that's that conversation. That's the nuance. That's very different. It's mainly because we're judging off of your effect, your look. And so
Mhm.
when you think about what's acceptable in other cultures versus the US and how strict it is, it's going to always be a conversation. So it's just
Yeah.
continual education. But we're getting there. We're getting so much better.
That's something that we've actually said from the very beginning. Like I remember in the first conversations that we were having with folks in ballroom was like, we have to think about the fact that across the world, like the standards for like your dress is very different. I mean, you look across like time, it has shifted too. So like as things also shift culturally in the United States with what is acceptable, which is why we showed like the celebrity outfits, right? Like they're
Mhm.
doing a mixture of gender now too in more and more ways on the red carpets and it's going to get more and more normalized. So then then what is it in ballroom? And that's going to have to evolve as well. So we don't expect that things need to look exactly how they do down the runway in mainstream ballroom in the United States as it does in Brazil, in Taiwan, in Greece, whatever, right? Like it just is going to depend on the culture. And it's also going to depend on the individual. We talk about this a lot, like the individual body type that you have. Like
Mhm.
even if you got two AFAB people walking a GNC category, one may have more curves than the other. And so that same exact blazer that they both bought from the same men's department or whatever is gonna look different on their bodies. And the choices that they make around that one article of clothing may make or break whether that's a GNC look or not. Like, so it's
Yeah.
really about the choices that you're making, and there's a lot of context involved in that. It's not just the clothes themselves, it's who those clothes are going on to, and it's the culture that's surrounding that
Yeah.
individual as well.
Thank you so much for all the information. I appreciate it.
No problem. That was a great question, by the way.
Thank you. No, it's just like I've been peeping it because it's it's just like you mentioned, it's always gonna be like a conversation and always going to ignite something, but it it's just like what you said, it all depends, like when and where, you know,
Yeah.
where you're located in the world and how society and in that space um you know sees you. But yeah, especially because at least for me, I was very much surprised when I experienced ballroom in Brazil. I'm like, wait, this is nothing of what I've seen in $3 bill. This is nothing what I've seen in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting, and you know, ballroom is evolving, everywhere. Even here in Puerto Rico, it's still very much recent.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's a big learning curve for a lot of areas that are just starting to do ballroom, just in understanding ballroom, period,
Right.
let
And then
alone
add,
the
and now
new
we're
things
adding
that are happening
GNC
in
to it.
ballroom. Yeah. So like I get it, like as like kind of more of a young scene, like you're still doing a lot of like kind of catching up in a way to just what the standards are across the board. And that's I mean it's amazing that you all are doing this and are so interested in GNC, and I think that is like also telling to what GNC speaks to, which is a kind of new and next generation of people that are really seeing themselves in these categories, and maybe finding an opportunity to be a part of ballroom because of that, where they might not have before because of how binary it was. Like if Stella was here, I know Stella would talk about that like at first Stella didn't want to be a part of ballroom because of how binary it was, but GNC gave them an opportunity. And so I'm always like just excited by this because I just think it gives a lot of opportunity to just express their creativity in new ways or in the way that feels right to them.
Yeah, for sure. I will say that with that gap of the US ballroom scene and like being international, as GNC grows, there are going to be instances where things won't go well the first time around. And it's a learning experience. Like I said, sometimes that first time around, it might be easy. You get your tens, you maybe you process. First time around, you might not get tens, you might get chopped. And so it's all a learning experience. And honestly, everything that we have come up with so far, that's really the result of us learning as we go. It's not gonna always be perfect, but it's a learning experience. And as you go through those experiences, you become a better person, you understand the category better. You might see somebody that's coming up walking GNC and you're like, you know what? I made that mistake when I walked. You know what? Let me pour some of my knowledge into you. So it's a beautiful thing to see how far we've grown from when we started to where we are now, the amount of people walking, even the effects. Like I remember like in the beginning, the creativity level when we first started versus now, just
Hmm.
hits. So it is definitely a learning experience and I'm enjoying the ride.
Hmm. And what I would say, like, especially if you're starting out in this category, like you're gonna get chopped in the beginning, potentially. We've all gotten chopped here or there, and it's either because the judges are still figuring it out themselves, or because like you are gonna make some mistakes and you're figuring it out along the way. And like what I would say is just like stick with it. I think that's something that like people don't always get that mentorship from their houses. It's really like stick with it and keep walking, keep coming back. Like come back the next time and be like, "Oh, bitches, you chopped me. Guess what? I'm gonna bring it like twice as hard now, you know?"
Yes.
And that's like the attitude that ballroom loves.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I kept perfecting my looks over and over and over again. I would just keep showing up to the category because I just felt like the best advocacy that we can do is show up and walk it in all of the
Hmm.
different variations that these looks can be. And so that's what I want to encourage. Like I got like a little sad in the beginning because I would sometimes be the only one walking, and then once in a while I'd be like, oh yes, like there's somebody else actually like walking the category with me, and then I'd never see them again because either they'd get chopped or I'd like get the trophy that round. But like I was like, oh man, I wish they would like come back to the category again because like I want to see them on the floor. I saw their potential, but they disappear. So I don't want that to happen. As much as it used to now that things are really like flowing and picking up and there's more examples out there for people to reference too.
Hmm. And what I was going to say, pretty much going the lines of Rika, don't be afraid to get chopped. You know what I'm saying? Like a chop sometimes is needed. Sometimes it's to humble you. Sometimes it's, to perfect your craft, things of that sort. You know, every mostly everyone in ballroom has been chopped. You know what I mean? Whether it was shady purposes, not shady purposes.
Legends have been
You know,
chopped.
you take it, I mean, no one wants to be chopped because you spend all this money and etc. But it comes with ballroom, comes with the competition. And I actually learned this as well. Sometimes you lose more than you actually win, but those wins that you do have can be like your biggest moments. And that's what makes you legendary. You know what I'm saying? So like and being consistent. A lot of people, right in the lines with Rika, a lot of people leave ballroom after they get that first chop or that first rejection. They leave. You know what I mean? That's why they say like it takes tough skin to survive ballroom, and it's it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because as you rise in your popularity and things of that sort, it's going to come with a lot of different things. You're going to have a lot of false narratives. You're going to have a lot of false allegations. You're going to have a lot of things that come your way, but it's you that determine like how you're going to move forward. You know what I mean? You can be the
Right.
person to entertain it. You could be the person to ignore it. You know what I mean? Or you could be a hybrid of the two, depending on what the situation is. But don't be afraid of being chopped. This is a growing category, but also you're constantly finding yourself within these categories. You know what I mean? Like creativity, it pushes you. Sometimes, we like to go the bare minimum sometimes, but sometimes Barbara said, girl, we need to step it up. Like, you know what I mean? So, so just keep pushing forward and always get the feedback. Whoever chops you, get it at the end and perfect it later on.
for sure.
What's going on with GNC in Puerto Rico? Like, I'm curious, like, just to have like a conversation now and hear from you all. Like, are you walking GNC categories? Are they at the balls yet? Have you had a major ball yet where like this has come up?
Me personally, I've only walked, the only category that I walk is labels. Um, I'm trying to think because I'm a corporate girly now, so I haven't been in the ballroom scene. I want to say like 4 months, 5 months now. Um, I don't know, maybe Serena knows more about if we've had categories that are GNC.
The majority of the categories in Puerto Rico is OTA, open to all.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know if in the trash they put any GNC category specifically or subcategory.
I
Not
was at the trash
sure.
guy. I was at the trash ball, but there were like 12 categories. I'm not even kidding. There were a lot of categories that night.
But the
Um,
majority is GNC's OTA categories, but I
yeah.
know we have a lot of non-binary people in the scene. Mostly
Mm,
the Kiki scene of Puerto Rico.
Mm.
The majority of the people is non-binary, transmasculine people. Um, so it's beautiful to see that scene. I think it's so different than US
Mm.
or other parts of the world.
For
But I
sure,
don't.
you can see like diversities in the face categories, which is also OTAs. Um, but yeah, I don't think like the way that it's been done in like mainstream ballroom, I don't think we've done it yet. Maybe I'm wrong, like don't quote me on this, because
I mean, that's
Is it
that's I mean
mostly
that's
Kiki
I
believable.
balls?
I've been under a rock all this time, but
Yeah.
Kiki balls, yes. I feel like Kiki balls are a little bit more flexible because they're Kikis out here, you know, like
Yeah,
um they're more flexible. But
Yeah,
I
like
can't.
historically in the US, the Kiki scene has had GNC, but it's been focused on identity. So
Hmm.
they didn't have the same standards that we've been advocating for in mainstream. And recently, we've had conversations with folks in the Kiki scene where they were asking us, what is it in mainstream? Because we want to try to align it with, we want to try to shift the standards in the Kiki scene so that they're actually preparing their kids coming up into mainstream
Hmm.
for how to walk it. So we don't dabble in the Kiki, like we don't try to influence what Kiki's doing. Like what y'all do is what you want to do. But if you want to align things, like we're always happy to like come into those spaces and share what it is that we're advocating for. And like I would say like, that's probably going to be a hard sell for a group of people that are walking a particular way in the Kiki scene to shift things. But if Puerto Rico is interested in kind of making this shift to also including like more mainstream type of balls and they want to have GNC categories, like that is going to be a necessary kind of piece of the advocacy work for you all.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I could see why face would be more common though, because even with us, like it started mainly with face, and then it kind of bridged off from there. So I mean, as long as if you have GNC face now, I definitely can see that eventually it will grow to other categories too, for
Best
sure.
dressed is the natural next
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
I think like for sure we've seen individuals in like for instance the one category that I've seen like non-binary or like a general GNC like individuals I want to see obviously like there's different categories, but the one that pops up in my mind that um it I'm comparing to the slides that you've shown, it's fashion bizarre out here. Like I
I can see
feel
Mm.
that.
like at least in the trash
Like
balls,
Afro.
like
Yeah,
yes,
very much because that's what Afro. Yeah,
Hmm.
I can
yes,
see
I
that.
um yeah, when you guys were showing the slides, I'm like, okay, this is giving like fashion bizarre out here, you know? But
Hmm.
definitely I feel we haven't had like a GNC category yet. But who knows? Maybe, we'll see it. I think it's um I don't know. I feel like everything takes time everywhere, especially
Yeah,
everything takes time to evolve. And it's just like what you guys mentioned. It's all about like, spreading the information, see if other people are like open to the possibility of these categories, or even bringing more categories that are more in the mainstream like ballroom scene. So,
yeah, that's fair.
So
Hey, I
are
mean,
there like a
sometimes.
few? Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Oh, I
Siren.
was gonna say sometimes, like if you want to get a category out there, best motivation is money. So some people throw out like a little $50, $100 grand prize, and that gets people to see like, oh, this is a category. So that's always an idea too. You were saying, Rick?
Yeah, get a few people to sponsor it, like a couple of like get like 3 or 4 people to throw 25 bucks in, and you've got a $100 category there. So it doesn't have to all be on one person
yeah.
to do that. I was gonna ask, like the leaders, like who are the leaders, and like making sure that like who they are, the people that are like really organizing the balls there and connecting in with them and giving them a chance to listen to some of the education that we provided. You have the recording.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're kind of in with them too, we'd be happy to come back and do some more education again or answer questions. But you have to start somewhere, right? And like, so getting that beginning, you're all like, again, like young enough there that you're getting things started and off the ground. So it's a good time to really start thinking about how to incorporate this like from the beginning.
Yeah, I think this space is so necessary, and I was so interested in this space because I do balls in Puerto Rico sometimes, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to add more things in my balls, and include it all in my balls, specifically in the next one I'm trying to do. Um, I don't know if you know, this year the National Trans March is in Puerto Rico,
Mm.
and I wanna include in the ball. I'm submitting a proposal to do a ball in the final of the march. And I want to include non-binary and gender non-conforming people in the ball,
Hmm.
because I think it's uh, necessary right now. Celebrate the gender non-conforming folks. And yeah, thank you so much for the space.
Oh, well, thank you for having us. We
Yeah, you
actually do enjoy
created.
these calls. We enjoy these calls, honestly. It's a good
Yeah.
place to share like our passion. You know, knowledge is knowledge is key. So it's like it's enjoyable for us to have these conversations. Just and also it gives us perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we're operating from the US, so we only really know what we know and what we come in contact with. So the more conversations we have, both internationally and stateside, the more tools that we have to put in our toolbox to apply for better advocacy. So we
Mhm.
appreciate being in this space as well.
Thank
Seconded.
you.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, I'll be saying my
We're
little stuff.
and we do this because we're passionate about it. We're not paid. We're just like advocates in the scene. We heard a need. We also felt a need ourselves, like for our own, sense of inclusion in ballroom. And it's something that we care about, and we just do it out of our own like desire to do it. So anybody can join our coalition and be, a part of the advocacy work. Just start advocating. And that's it. Yeah.
So, really, you have another question or something? Niles, they told me they are only listening for today. But yeah, I'm so grateful to this space, and I want to keep the contact with all of us. because I wanna keep doing, more things and connect the mainstream to the ballroom scene of Puerto Rico, and get more, have more information and share each other our perspective on our experience because I think it's so necessary for us. Uh, and make a bridge. Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to learn more English. I think,
You're
Look,
perfect.
you're doing
Yeah.
amazing.
Much
So
better
yeah,
than
you're
I do
but
in Spanish. So
yeah,
Yeah, you're
because
doing a
I
great job.
discovered my first contact with the collection was with Afro because in my birthday a few months ago, Afro celebrate my birthday with me and we are talking about our life.
you were in New York, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
currently in New York,
You're currently okay.
Babylon. Yeah, I'm Babylon. I'm trying to enter to the major scene. And in the Kiki scene too. I have like 5 months walking in Kiki scene or more. And right now I'm trying to, go to OTA, check the
Get your
vibes.
clips. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
get my clips. Trying to do my stuff. I'm identified like a non-binary person, but my gender expression is like a trans woman. I
Okay.
think um I think it's more secure for me and that's makes me more happy, being presented by female. Um but yeah, like I don't want GNC categories because I think I'm more happy being a femme queen. Um,
That's
but
valid, but we also
That's
welcome
valid.
femme queens to come and compete in the GNC
Uh-huh.
categories if you're ever comfortable doing that.
yeah, I think I'm more interested right now because I know more about the category. Sometimes, I'm uh, like a little butch in my gender expression or more male, a little bit male presenting or male
Mhm.
presenting clothes. So I think it's so difficult here in the US. I think when I'm arrived in the scene spaces, I feel a little uncomfortable because the people said, "Oh, you need to be a femme queen, the hyper feminine look," and sometimes it's, oh my God, I like it, but at the same time, it's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
have nails, have hair, have talk every time, like. So, yeah, I'm so interested right now in the GNC categories. And thank you for all. And I don't know if mm, anyone want to add something or more. Yeah.
Yeah, any last things before we close out?
Mm, no, I don't think I think we covered everything.
Well, I just want to say it was really nice to meet you at Creating Change, Serena. Like, thank you
Yes.
for attending our session and like, you really like followed through, like you wanted to do this and we made it happen. So thanks for following up and following through. And the communication door is always open. So anytime you want to reach back out or you need anything. Also, you're in New York. I'm right here in New Jersey. So, and I go into New York all the time. So you ever need anything, let me know. But it sounds like you've connected in with good people like Afro too.
Yeah,
So
I wanna go to the Jersey. I wanna go to Jersey one day and see the
I want to
scene
go to
of
Puerto Rico one
Jersey.
day. So yeah,
Oh, maybe in October.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
please tell me you're not in Trenton.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm in New Brunswick. I'm in Central Jersey.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you what I don't know why my sister told me one day to pick me up in Trenton instead of Philadelphia. And as soon as I got out of the station, I'm like, I'm gonna wait inside.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not in the nice area of New Jersey.
No, I'm in like
It
the
was very
university
gray. It was
area.
very sketchy. It was very sketchy, like where I was in that train station. In the it was the I was taking the train that connects you to go downtown to Philadelphia. I think the Amtrak is it? Is it?
There's New Jersey Transit and there's Amtrak does go through there too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it depends. It depends. But they're all like they all go
and
through
they
Trenton. Like
share they
yeah.
show the tracks too.
Yeah.
It
Bandwagon
was
New Jersey
crazy.
dancing.
I've been to Jersey City. I love Jersey City. It's nice. 15 minutes away from the city. It's good to like kiki and get out. No, because it's by the water and like I'm
Yeah.
anemic, so whenever I would go to Jersey, it was like during the winter time to visit like one of my best friends, but she lived right by the water. I'm like, girl, like it's nippy out here.
I love it.
But yeah, we can keep in touch. I'm so happy for that. Yeah, I wanna go to Jersey too. And I
Yeah,
hope very
let me
soon
know.
you go to Puerto Rico and have
Yeah, I really
vacations
do want to
and
go, so I will let you know.
I would love to go to Puerto
yeah.
Rico. I've never been to Puerto Rico. That is
Same
definitely
here.
For the
on my
beaches.
checklist, my bucket list. So, what's the best parts of Puerto Rico to go to? Like the number one cities, to be honest.
But
I
not the
think like
touristy
but
spots,
no,
like the
that's what I'm saying.
cool local spots.
I feel like if I always tell people if you come to Puerto Rico, you definitely need a car because the transportation system in Puerto Rico is not the same as in New York. Like, it's not gonna take you where you want to see like actual like, you know, local spots. I mean, you can go to Rio Piedras, which has its like local spots like El Boricua, Santurce. It depends on the bar, but I feel like if you want to enjoy Puerto Rico for sure, you need to get outside of the San Juan bubble.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
like saying San Juan for me is the equivalent of 42nd Times Square.
Oh
Exactly
yeah.
Okay.
that. It's very touristy. Like it's fine if it's your first time and if you want to go to Old San Juan and like experience that. Definitely, like I always tell people, if it's your first time, definitely do like touristy stuff, like not all
Hmm.
the
Like an
time, but
afternoon, but then get out of there and yeah.
exactly, like a daytime thing.
Hmm.
But definitely if you want to like explore, a car is your best bet for
Now,
Hmm.
sure.
do you guys drive the same side as us as well? Is it the same? Because I know in
Yes, yes, yes. It's not in it's yeah, same side, left side.
okay, because I know in
Yeah.
Virgin
Same
Islands
They're
black,
there's
not British
same.
colonized, they're US.
okay, because I
It's
know in
We're
Virgin
very
United
much
States.
US colonized, yes.
Yeah.
because I
I
know
think the
Virgin.
only cars that are the opposite are the post office ones, I think.
Okay, because I know
Yeah.
Virgin Islands is the opposite. When I went to Virgin Islands, it was the complete
Well, because
opposite.
there's the British Virgin Islands.
And
That's
there's
why. There's
French
also
as
the
well,
US
yeah.
Virgin Islands.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
went to um St. Thomas and St. John's. And I was like, oh, you know what? I am not driving. I'm gonna get a taxi, honey, because this is confusing.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
But
definitely
yeah.
pop out. I feel like it's always very important, not only just to like um I always say for me, I was in the United States for 6 years and I'm like, okay, it's time to go back home. Like this is New York. I did it all. I made it to New York. I can make it anywhere. But I feel like it's very much important to like step out of that like US bubble because there's just so much out there, especially in the Caribbean, especially like in Latin America. Like I told myself, if I'm going to invest my paychecks, I don't care if I spend all my paycheck and like booking my flights and I only have like, I don't know, $400 just to survive when I travel. I'm gonna do like either South America or other parts of the Caribbean that I haven't explored yet, you know? United States is always going to be there. Same problem, same energy. New York is cute for me. New York, New York for me is like I'm gonna go in to thrift, have a nice, cute weekend, and get out. Like last time I was in New York was 2022 for a DJ gig, and I don't know why I decided to stay 1 week instead of a weekend. I don't know if it was because I was already so like up to here after
Do
6 years, but yeah.
you DJ for ballroom or other
I've
stuff?
DJed for Ballroom. That's just my hobby.
Hmm.
I did my bachelor's in New York. I stayed a little bit working and then I came back.
Nice.
But yeah, there's this black queer DJ called Agent DMC. She caters to like queer and like uh the black queer community as well. And she invited me to DJ an event and I haven't been back to New York. I was also like, I'm like, I need a break from New York, but I kind of miss it. New York brought a lot of like positive things. It's just, being born and raised in the Caribbean, at least me, I'm like, okay, like I need a slower like pace in my life right now. But yeah, New York, that's
That
where.
island pace, that's what you need.
Yeah, the island pace
Island
is very
time.
much slow, but I feel for me right now, yes, I miss New York. I miss the money, I miss the opportunities, I miss the minimum wage, period. You know?
And now Mom
Um,
Donnie is mayor, so everything's better.
but right now, like I'm gonna be certified as a project manager next month. So I'm going to be applying for like hybrid jobs in New York. So I'm like, if I get a hybrid job in New York, I'll be happy because I won't have to be all the time in New York. That's my ideal situation with New York. Um,
Yo tengo el
but
mismo
yeah, like
problema.
whenever you guys, no, for sure, pero yo, I don't know. The
Yo
30s
quiero
are
like
kicking
algo
in.
ya.
The 30s, I'm 30, so I'm like my granny mode is kicking in, like auntie mode. I need a slower pace, you know. I went to
I
the
got you.
chiropractor today, so that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, definitely if you want to escape the winter, Puerto Rico or even DR, for sure. DR is fun to go to as
Oh,
well.
DR, I love
I've been
DR.
to
I lived
DR.
2 years in DR in 2017 and 2019. That's my years in DR after the Hurricane Maria and was beautiful.
I'm actually going there for on a cruise in 2 weeks.
Nice.
So did you
Brr.
did you say you're doing project management?
Yes, I
'Cause-
did. Yes, I'm getting the certification because I'm like backwards. I have the experience, but I don't have the license. And one of my best friend,
Mm.
he's a senior software engineer, and he's like, "Why don't you have the license?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, if you get the license, you're gonna be able to like get an actual job with a nice salary, like la la la." I'm
hmm
like, it's good credit for your resume. I'm like, I
I'm
have to invest half of my paycheck for like the prep course and booking the exam, but it's worth it because right now with how the economy is and everything being
hmm
so fucking expensive,
yes.
I'm in a point where in my life where I don't want to be juggling like two different jobs. I rather have one steady job that I can be able to like pay my rent, feed my children. I have one dog and three cats. Um,
I'm glad that you said that because I'm actually going to be signing up for project management because I want to get into that.
Oh my
It's
God,
actually been my passion.
I'll give you my telephone number if you want and I can like walk you through it. I'm doing mine through PMI Institute online
Okay,
and then
yes. Okay,
I'm gonna
period.
give you my number. I'm gonna give
Okay,
you my number.
yes. Yes.
So look at these connections. I love it. We love doing
Okay.
this.
Mhm.
It's so
Oh
crazy because
yeah.
I'm actually I've been looking online too, and I was like, I just need to get this credential because that's all that I need to increase.
I
Okay,
got
period. I
you.
got you. Let me just screenshot this.
I got you. It's definitely, yeah, I'm doing the CAP M first, and then I'm praying I can get the other license, which is professional project management, the PMP. But that one, honey, it's expensive and that's asking you for a lot of requirements and like years of experience. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get the CAP M, which is Q, which is a certified associate project manager
Mm-hmm.
license. And with that, you can apply for like project coordinator jobs, assistant project manager. Like you'll be able to just have like a way in into the project manager world.
Yes, because I was just telling my best friend, I was like, I really want to get into I love project management and event planning and all of that. And I was like, I don't want to go back to school because I already have my degrees. It's like that's just a waste of time. And he was like, girl, just get a certification. I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look into it. So
All right, we got one more minute on our time here, so I'm gonna say goodbye and just another thank you to Serena for inviting us to be here, and just thank you for your great questions. both of you. And yeah, I appreciate y'all.
We'll
Thank you
say
so
the
much.
same.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.
Bye, Sila.
Adios.
Bye, y'all.